Okay, so I'm back here. It's going to be an interesting next couple of weeks, as I already made another video announcing this, but Microsoft and Mojang have introduced the ability to actually start to sell add-ons and texture packs. This is going to be really cool, but I'm not going to get into that too much, but it's going to be interesting. For the moment, I'm going to focus on my own mods, and hopefully not choke on the food I just ate, as I just scarfed down a peanut butter covered bagel without chewing much, and I'm now fully regretting this. But let's fix our debug here, get it working a little bit better. So we're going to need to pass in our bullet offset now, because that is actually a problem. So as I was potentially thinking when we were working on this, is that we could pass in the bullet offset, but I was like, you know what, let's just avoid that for the moment. So we're going to do that. We're going to pass it in. We're going to go like this, put this up here, and do the bullet offset. Actually, that's the wrong spot for that. So as you might actually ask, I'm still going to make almost all of my mods free when it comes to that marketplace system. The likelihood is I won't even get to make anything for that for another year. You have to be a registered business. You got to set up there's a lot of rules for it, and I don't validate for almost any of them. Especially since my content is not downloaded very well. The quality is not exactly ideal. Variety of other things. So we got our debug system here. We're going to reset this back to start endpoint, and the reason we're going to do that is to fix these renderings slightly different. Yeah, we're going to set this to new, pause. Or actually, no, we're going to set this to aim.toPause.multiply by 0.5. Is that where we're actually doing our ray trace? How is our system working? When we go to do the do fire, we do the ray trace. The ray trace is, we just add the aim. This whole system's confusing. I'm gonna have to spend some more time on it. It's highly likely that I'm gonna make a shooter wrapper here in like 2 or 3 seconds, because we're starting to fug the code up a bit. And what I mean by that is it's starting to get to the point where there's multiple handling for different types of entities inside the same class. We're trying to handle things in a different way each time we're trying to work on them. And what we probably just need to literally do is create some kind of wrapper object called shooter. Inside there, we would store the actual shooter. We would gain access to the inventory, our ammo slots, our settings. So if we had settings for the user, we could access those. Bullet offsets, a little bit of everything. And that lets us more easily handle all this. And we're going to do that as soon as we do some testing here, because I got to think of how to design that. It's going to be interface driven, so that way any modder can come in and do whatever they want. That's the really important thing, is we want to make sure that anytime we design content for this system, I support as many mod developers as possible, because there are other mod developers out there that have their own Sentry guns. You got Rotorcraft has Sentry guns, you got Open Modular Sentry guns, I think even there's a thermal expansion mod that has Sentry guns. I don't get out much, so I don't know what mods there is available. These days I've been playing more of other games. Unfortunate though, I need to interact with the community more. We'll see how this goes though. Still going to try to hit that release date of the end of the month. That means I've got about 20 days left. That's 2 weeks. I got a couple exams still to hit up this week, and then I'm done till May the 15th. So that's the reason I was saying it may actually be somewhere in May when we actually get all this done, because that means I've got a little bit more flexibility time. I'll announce on Twitter if I can't hit that deadline. Because the original deadline was March, and I didn't hit it because it was taking too long to do everything else, and I had to sidetrack to go do more freelancing projects because I had to pay bills. I'm still concerned if I have enough money to pay for my college. I think I do, but I may have to go do more contracts, which may hinder things. There's a $5,000 contract that was already offered to me by a group that's working on a launcher, and I'm still considering if I want to go take it. But if I take it, then I can't hit the deadline at all because I'll be working on that project for the rest of the year in order to get that $5,000. It's a lot of money too. But I turned it down just for the simple idea that I want to make sure I work on this stuff for you guys. Why is the Sentry gun not spawning? Okay, there it goes. Okay, we're getting a little bit better behavior here. We're still getting some weird twisting. Yeah, we're having some problems with the bullet offset. Okay, so what we want to do is go look at this and see how this works. So bullet start point is an actual start point. Okay. We're going to modify that behavior. So we're going to do this. Okay. And what we want to do is entity position dot add bullet offset. It's the reason why we can't see the red laser, by the way. We only see the blue one. Is I screwed up on that code. Let's hit F3B. I want to see where my hitbox is. Okay. So we got a lot of weird hitboxing going on with the ray trace not doing perfect. I don't get why this is jumping around a lot. The center point shouldn't change any. So we need to take a look at what we're doing here, because we know it works for the entity perfectly fine. So it's got to be our code here that's messed up. So our bullet offset is pretty much half of our distance of our aim. So that means we're 0.5 from the center of our object. We're just going to set this to aim just to make it work a little better. And we got our aim point, so our end point's good. Maybe it's our start point. Do ray trace bug. So okay, these both look good. We got our aim point. Entity position, we're good. Then why is it twitching? See, we're up here, we're down there. Something's not operating correctly. So the trick with working with this stuff is it's hard sometimes to tell what's going on. It could be we may have messed up from the beginning and our rotation may not be exact. This is where I end up creating test tiles to spend hours just trying to debug little things like this, because I mean that ray trace is probably exactly what this ray trace is following too. If it's doing that there, then that means the actual bullet path is also following that same trajectory. Okay, so we need to come up with a system here to fix this. I'll make a static real quick, just to check something. Yeah, okay, that's a problem. Not too much of an issue actually. We don't need these anymore. It's good to know. Why do we even care if that's... Oh, we set the endpoint to the hit vec. I forgot about that. That way our laser isn't rendering like clear through walls. What else do we got here we can toy with? So we're gonna have to do some math here. Actually, I want this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to spawn in front of the sentry gun where it's aiming a particle. And we're going to use that to debug our system. So we want rotation yaw. Okay, we get that to radians, we get the hand position, and we want to spawn a particle with the hand. So I'm going to have to make a packet for this. So it'd be packet spawn particle. Packet spawn particle equals new packet spawn particle. I'm going to have to go look up what we're looking for. String dim, okay, that's pretty standard. So smoke 0 because I'm lazy at the moment. Actually, no, we'll do this properly. World dot provider dot dim ID, and then we want hand dot x hand hand.y, hand.z. If you guys have seen my other videos, I did this before to test the grappling hook. We want to do packet spawn, or we want to send this to the client is what we're going to do. So I need to do engine.packet handler. That saves me a lot of effort just to send it to everybody. I don't care who they are, just everybody. Since this is a debug packet, it's assumed there's only going to be one person. And cat, don't even think about knocking stuff off my desk. My brother's cat is now behind the desk. Cat, no. I think she just wants to sit in the window. Because I closed the back door to prevent the dog from trying to knock the screen door out. So we got this, and we should see something. We're not seeing something though. Okay, plan B. This needs to go somewhere where it's going to get ticked every single tick, or, yeah. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to add the current position notice. We'll fix in 2 seconds. Put this up here, encapsulate this entire thing in the debug mode. Then we want to go to the hand, and we want to go hand equals hand.add center. We're going to unfinal the hand position. Run that again. Yep, we're seeing exactly what I thought we were going to see. The rotation's off. This is why there's a plus 90 in one of my systems over here. Okay, that looks a little closer. No, not at all. We are back to Failure Avenue. Problem is, it's almost inverted, is what's going on. Well, this, if this at least rotates properly with it, then we know we've figured out that it's an inverted issue. Okay, it's an inversion issue, so we've figured out exactly where it kind of should be. I don't understand why it's inverted though. Let's remove this. Okay, now we're slightly behind, but we're off to an angle from it. So let's try minusing 90 degrees. Sort of in front of it now. You know what's probably breaking? Where's the center position? Oh, that looks good. We need another smoke particle. Smoke particles, more smoke particles. We're actually going to do fire probably on this one. And this is how you do debug, by the way. Just start shitting stuff out into the world so you can see it. Console works too, if you really want to use console. I prefer visual. After all, we are visual people. Okay, I'm probably getting a cannot find particle error. I am not. Spawn particle. Control B. You'll work. Flame is what it's called. It's not called fire, it's called flame. Just remind me the name of a song. Okay, so there's our center point. That looks good. So our center point's not broken. I don't get why the yaw has to be negative though. You know what? Instead of wrapping to this, we're gonna do 360. So wrap to. The math utility. So I got to use my utility, and then we want to clamp angle to 180. So we can use my version, and we'll probably get a better result. Even though I think it's the same. Still kind of not correct. Let's remove this off the front and see if we get a different result. Okay, now it's angling weird. So the negative does need to be there. Is there there's got to be a 360 system here. We'll do it the hard way. So there is actually there's a system out here. Clamp at 360. Clamp angle. Yeah, the clamping angle is literally just that simple. You just kind of add numbers to it. So we need to go to our entity. Did I close it? No, it's right here. I'm losing track of my brain here. Okay. So we want to go rotation hand. Supposedly this works. I don't understand if this code even works. So what this will do is if our result is less than rotation hand. No, I know what's up here. This is min-max, this is 0, and this is 360. I don't know why we're using this, because this is going to give us the appropriate result anyways. So what we can actually do with this is just do this. Click, click, and click. This should, in theory, give us a proper result. And we just need to put a negative down here and see what happens. The thing is, something's wrong with this math. So we're going to test it by doing this real quick, because I want to just see if this math is correct. So if we're at a 0 angle, we're not perfectly behind. We're at this little corner for some reason. And why is that? And rotating 90 degrees gets to the other corner. Ah, sorry about that. Something in my throat. So we're gonna do maybe 45. Still doesn't make sense why this math is off by that amount. It's confusing. Maybe it has something to do with how we're doing this math. Center.add hand. I mean, this shouldn't make a difference, but in the name of science, we got to test. Yeah, no difference there. I mean, it's working now, so at least we just got to just throw rotation back in here and just make it function. Now we're off by 90 degrees as well, so we need to minus by another 90. This tells me that there's a high potential that the model itself is what's actually off and not the system, but I don't care. It works now. So what we're actually doing with this, by the way, is we're trying to figure out where our bullet spawn position is going to be so we don't clip ourselves. So what this would actually be, so we get float size equals 0.5. So we put the size down in here, and we're scaling our output vector of rotation. So we're doing trigonometry, I believe is what that's called. You're just doing cosine sine to figure out where you're at around a circle. And we would adjust the size by the size of the sentry gun. So if we had a sentry gun that was a 5x5, then it would be like the size value would be 3 or something. So you're not clipping yourself when you're firing. You have to take into account that you need a circle that encompasses this square. So your size is literally from that corner to the center. In the case, this is a 0.7 by 0.7. I can do the math. 0.7 times 0.7 times 2. That means our size variable would be 3. Well, that's not right. 0.7 times 0.7 times 2. Why is this not doing what it should be doing? 0.7 times 0.7 gives me that variable, times 2 gives me that variable. Square root. Why is square rooting that give me pretty much the same number back? Okay, Google time. Profag. I am not spelling this right. No, okay. A square. Pythagoras' theorem. Okay, so we need to type that in. I'm looking for a solver. Is what I'm looking for, real quick. Pythagorean. Okay, here we go. So 0.07, 0.07. Okay, gives me 0.99, so maybe it is right. So that means our distance would be a 1, is what it would actually be in order to prevent from clipping the corners. Or actually, it'd be 0.5, because it's half the distance from the center of that corner. So if both of our sides are 0.7, then our distance is, etc. We can programmatically solve this by doing what I just did. And would it be width times width? Actually, it's width times 4. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then we want math.square root. Then you can be a double for all I care. That should give me the same exact result. Or it's going to give me that, which is not what I want. Need to divide by 2. Good enough. Now we need to solve for the pitch in order to get a up and down angle. Yeah, that's not right though. That should be literally width times width times width times width, which is just times 4. And you get square root. Hit the debug here. I want to see what the number is. I mean, the number is correct. No, it's not. It's too big. What happened here? So it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. In the case of we're using 0.07, so times 0.07 by 0.07, so it should be just times 4. And then we get that value. Then we divide by 2, because that gives us what we're looking for. So that means somehow we came out with a 1.6 on our size, which is not correct. So something weirded out with our square root. Float AB is what we're going to call this. So I need to see what AB equals, and I need to see what square equals. SQ. There's probably some weird rule when it comes to the Pythagorean theorem where this comes out to some bullshit number. If you guys are familiar with math, there's always these weird edge cases that math doesn't solve for. How did you end up as 2.8? Guess it doesn't look right. So 0.7 times 0.7. How do we get a different number? Because 0.7 squared is basically 0.7 times 0.7. Then the preceding is times 2, which gives you this. But if you've got two numbers, so if I have, no, I know exactly what I messed up. My math assumption's wrong. Goddamn mathematics. Can't be simple. You gotta do that or it doesn't work. No, the same result. So width times width times 2. That doesn't give me the same result. Why is that any different at all? Why? Okay, so 0.7 times 0.7 gives me that. But why does 0.7 times 2 give me... Oh, I see what I'm messing up. Yeah, I figured it out. I'm assuming that 2 to the square is the same as times 2. And this is an example of where coffee is required this morning. And unfortunately, I don't want to go make any more. This works though. To the square root of 4 would have got me the same answer, by the way. There we go. We got our thing, and it doesn't clip the corner, which is what we want it to do. We don't want it to clip our bounding box. That gives us a perfect thing there. So we could use this as our spawn point, which is what we're trying to do. So the whole purpose of this code is not to make debug code. We actually are going to physically use this code for what we want to use it for. Anyways, I need to go put this in here, and then take this and put it back where it's at. So I'm not using as much memory. Okay, so I'm gonna kill this real quick so we can go make a whole bunch of data variables. Um, yeah, that's correct. So we want to create a variable in here, protected ray width offset equals 0, and we're going to initialize this variable down here. To be honest, we don't have to really worry about this particularly, because when you go to do ray trace, you can ignore yourself, and I believe the code's already set up to do that. Okay, so we're going to set that, and that gives us the variable so we can just recycle it over and over again. We want to make a method, protected void calculate gun, or calculate bullet spawn point. That's what we're creating. And this is this whole thing we just made. We still have to do pitch with this, so we're going to have to play with it more. But we're slowly making improved code. Let's call this bullet spawn offset instead of point. Point assumes it's a point in the world. Offset actually determines it's not. And we'll do this here, and then right down here, we're going to make a new variable called hand, and we'll just do this. That way we can debug it with a smoke particle, as we were doing previously. In the calculate, we're going to reset it anytime you set the position, and we're going to reset it anytime you set the size. And we'll go ahead and we'll move this up here, and we're going to move this up here too. So the update methods are next to each other. We'll throw all of the set data at the bottom here when we're done. Cool. Now we just got to do the pitch value, or yeah, pitch value. Pitch has to be calculated utilizing this, and it's a tan method. Actually, I don't even need that. I could fake it real quick. I'm just trying to think of how to fake it. Well, I can fake it with this real quick. This method here is all I need. These two things. Just I got to figure out which one of these I need and which one of these I don't need. So I'm gonna need. So this is gonna be my yaw, is what this is. And then I'm gonna need a pitch value. And then we're going to need to calculate each of these. So this is going to go up here. And we're going to need one for this. Radian pitch. And right now we're just going to throw pitch in here. And we'll have to figure it out slowly. Shoot. Okay. Your position is a 3D given by two angles, radians, which in your case is constant. S is the angle around the z-axis, T is the height angle. So, we're going to try this math. Just pray it does not come back to bite me. So, radius is our size. We then need to prefix this with math. Because we're not working in one of those languages that just gives you access to methods as long as you have the imports. I wish we did. That would not be too horrible. So this is going to be radians, yeah. And this is going to be radians. This is probably not going to work. Usually when I go grab math off the line, it's never a perfect integration, especially when we're talking about Minecraft here. But we want to do that. We're going to comment out our old code so that way we still have it. And we're going to go, this is new x, y, z. Definitely wish I was working in a language where I could just pull that off right there, where I didn't even have to define it was a new pause. I could just go bracket 3 letters and go, oh, you're talking about a pause. Okay, let's see. Oh, notification spam, I see. Okay, so back to working on this, I guess. Hopefully get this all functional. Because even though I could rush in, I could go ahead and I can make a perfect sentry gun. I can go make it do and kill things, and you get GUIs and stuff. We're starting slow intentionally to make sure that every piece of the sentry gun functions properly. Because if we get parts of the sentry gun that does not function properly, then what we're doing is we're going to screwball ourselves later on. I've had this happen. When I made the original sentry guns, we got production releases out. We made them functional. People were using them. They were playing with them. They were enjoying them. But then we got a constant bug inflow. And it was at least 5 to 6 bug reports a day almost, just for sentry guns. And they weren't just from the issue tracker. Of course, we got most of our bug reports from verbal chat and stuff. So people were chatting via text messages with us and going, oh, hey, this isn't working, this is doing that, and various other things. We had problems with the permission system because it wasn't flushed out. We had problems with the GUIs because we didn't know how to code GUIs worth of crap. We had issue complaints about lag. Luckily, somebody sat and fully broke down the lag report for me, and I actually took some time to study that. And that's how I learned about Big O notation. That was my first introduction to it, was somebody telling me what was going wrong with my sentry guns. I don't remember their name, but I'm happy they did it, because after that, the sentry guns started performing a lot better. I took time to break down the algorithms. I took my search algorithms from an O of 3 to an O of 1. Although, even with being O of 1, it still took on average, I think, a few milliseconds per target. I don't get why this is behaving weird. Okay. Pitch seems to be working properly, so we're getting pitch now. our X seems to be screwed up. Or is it? Watch this for a few more minutes. I cannot tell if it's broken, but I am pretty sure it is broken. So what we're gonna do is do this. Get rid of that, get rid of that, do this, hacksaw this into here, and try that. Pitch doesn't seem to be changing any. Fucking slime just teabagged the Sentry gun. Okay, we're gonna have to debug this the hard way. I feel stupid. We have to recalculate this each and every tick. So I'm like, you know, let's calculate the offset. It's like, no, we have to actually calculate this each and every tick. It's the reason why it's not working properly. Maybe working? I need to create a particle that just sits there. Doesn't move, doesn't change any, just sits there. It's working, as far as I can tell. So we want to recalculate this every single tick, and we want to do it on both server and client. Unfortunately, this is going to generate a junk object per tick, so there is going to be a memory overhead from this. And we need to come down to our fire method. And one of these needs to change. It's the second one. So this will be pulse funnel set. So the red laser is our actual projectile laser. The blue one is our perceived AI aim point. The red one's the only one we actually really care about. The blue one can die for all I care. It just means the blue one, what's happening is that means our rotation angles are not converting to pause properly. And it probably has a lot to do with this inverted rotation scheme. Okay, let's give you some ammo so you can actually murder things real quick. Cool thing is, unlike the older versions of ICBM, dynamic ammo, anybody can make ammo for these things, anybody can put ammo on these Sentry guns. So many possibilities, so much dynamic everything. Why aren't you shooting? Oh, you might be out of range. That's good to see that range checks are working. So F3B. Let's get the model working a little better this time. Actually, let's drop the entity set position real quick, and what we'll do is we'll calculate it. That way it works properly. So tile sentry gun, we want the Y position to be that size variable we made. So to be sentry dot size, or is that not a public variable? Tis not a public variable. So we're gonna hit save and quit so I can edit that. And that lets me test to see if the ammo saved. And we're gonna make these all public. I don't really care how much data is public, what's not public. It only matters if you're trying to make APIs and stuff, if you want to hide things. And we're gonna rename this half width. So that should give us a nice dynamic there. We're gonna load this down here now. So I think it's what's causing that right-click bug. Is that this is loading on both sides weirdly. Yeah, that'll be fine. All looks good. The position will get reset next tick, so I don't really care. Good, we'll launch. And we'll see what behavioral change we'll get. We do need to figure out why the aim is so weird, why the aim's offsetted so much. Because we can figure that one out, that'll make everything else run a little better. Where we at video recording time right now? 47 minutes, so I'm going to be cutting this pretty soon. So I can go start on actual lunch, even though I technically ate a bagel here a little bit ago. Bagel's not food. I need to not repeat what I did yesterday and record all day and not really eat. I'd be honest, I'm probably going to turn into one of those people where that has to be reminded to eat food or I won't eat food. Hope I don't turn into that, because that won't do very well, because unfortunately if you don't eat you end up getting ill, and if you get ill you don't program. Let's see, what else we got? Still no report on my final exam though. I'm really concerned about this. It's Monday, the exams are due Saturday. So that means I've only got 5 days to get this exam done. Professor has not posted the exam, has not replied to emails. And even though I don't need to take this exam to pass, I would like to pass the class with an A, so it'll bring my GPA up a little bit. Because my GPA has been pretty low for the last couple semesters because I've been taking more time to work on this stuff and less time to do my schoolwork. Because in order to get straight A's, I'd have to no-life it. I do not get why that doesn't cycle that first tick until I click it. Internal error exception has occurred. What did we break? Container sentry gun. That's what we broke. Sentry data needs to be on both sides. It's an easy fix though. This means we're going to have to set up some packet handling here later to do this, because I don't want to be generating data on the client. The client should do literally nothing but exist. We need to make sure the NDD doesn't actually spawn. So get rid of that. We do need the data client side. This means this, luckily it didn't crash the game. GUIs and containers are one of the few things that won't crash. And then I've got handling for right click to prevent right click from crashing the game. Because we actually go look at right click and see what's happening. Here we go. Right click is, yeah, it's containers. Got a null data set in it. That doesn't make any sense. Did we forget to do something? You know what? I think we did. Nope, there's our new tile. I was like, did we forget to do the new tile object? And no, it's right there. So we got a tile, it's initialized, it's registered. On right click is running server side only. It's server data, data's being run, so this should be cycled. So both sides should have Sentry data. It's not making much sense. Null point exception is server. Ah, this is why this is breaking. It's not. What's happening is it's not so much the data is null. The tile doesn't exist when I right click, and this is happening because is server check has a flaw in it, and I've been reluctant to fix it for quite a while. And that will fix it. Let me go up here and we'll do this up here. This will screwball with some logic, but there's no world when you go to load a tile. So a tile is loaded with its memory before the world loads. So it's a really simple problem, and because of that, it nulled out our munitions, so we have to load ammo back up into it. So we got ammo again. Rotating properly. What else were we going to check before we hit this bug? We were going to check something. Oh yeah, the height. So F3B. The height is being set higher than it should be. I can fix this. So I'm ignoring the fact that the tiles are actually really short. Or I mean, not the tiles are short. The position data, because this is what my brain was trying to say and my mouth said different words. So the position of the tile is actually right at the bottom there. Where I've got that flame is not the tile position, it's actually where that gun is currently sitting at. So that means we need to drop it down. There we go. That's a really good point for that Sentry gun too, because that is only slightly above the tile. It prevents it from clipping down the tile, because we don't want the entity to clip into the tile, because if that happens, the whole render will go black on the tile, because it'll act like it's stuck inside of something. And I still haven't figured out how to fix that, or else I would allow it to happen. Okay, so this is killing stuff. Let's go ahead and fix our render. I mean, with the render fixing, it's just going to be a temporary fix, because of course I've already mentioned I'm probably going to have the tile do the rendering. You know, actually on that subject, we've got it working. It's now ray tracing properly. It's got its offset proper. We know where the center point is. The bounding box is doing good. We've got a base. We can open it up. It's got ammo. It's unloading and loading. It's killing stuff. We're pretty much done with the basics of the Sentry gun, so let's go work on models. Actually, what is the recording time of video? I'm going to cut this video here, and then I'll be right back after a short break, and we'll do models.